The Jefferson Parish school system is one of the largest and most innovative in the state of Louisiana. The administration, school board, teachers, and staff all share a deep devotion to providing the best possible education. The Jefferson Parish school system also takes great pride in their facilities and understands the importance of a healthy, comfortable learning environment. They are facing a problem plaguing school systems across the country: the ongoing costly deterioration of the physical plant equipment that controls the school's environment.
We did have major problems in the past. I mean, just really big problems, especially with the air conditioning and cooling system and heating system.
A United States General Accounting Office study concluded that nationwide, inadequate heating, ventilating, and air conditioning affects over 28,000 schools and more than 15 million students.
The school was just in chaos, with the temperatures. It's been a serious problem here.
Here in New Orleans, especially with the humidity being as high as it is, you get a 90-degree temperature and 90-degree humidity, and without proper air conditioning or airflow inside of a classroom, it gets pretty doggone hot. And a lot of our classrooms here don't even have windows. We call them sweat boxes.
If it's too warm or if it's too cold or something isn't right, that distracts the attention of the students from the teacher.
To keep their covenant with the community, the individual school boards must spend more and more precious resources repairing these systems, usually just in time to repair them again. The school system was spending approximately $1,200,000 per year maintaining, repairing, and replacing these air conditioning systems. Deferred maintenance was growing, and reliability was becoming an issue. Some non-instructional areas had no working heating and air conditioning for years. Maintenance staffs were overwhelmed. Putting out fires became the only routine maintenance strategy. Eventually, the escalation of tiny problems makes the situation seem so hopeless, the entire system is replaced, only to have the repair problems begin all over again with the new system. Over the years, millions of dollars were spent to essentially take one step forward, 2 steps back. Chillers had been taken apart, then abandoned. Large refrigeration compressors had also failed, but had not been replaced. Dirty black water filled distribution systems that had never been flushed out or chemically treated. Strainers were clogged. Hundreds upon hundreds of room air conditioning units were never treated or flushed properly. Hundreds of coils became fouled, but could not be isolated for service because the proper valves were never installed. Air handling unit coils were so packed with dirt, air could not move through them. Entire control systems had been abandoned. Air compressors, air dryers, and pneumatic controls were out of service and abandoned. Chilled water valves were blocked open. Failed components took electric and pneumatic controls and automation systems out of service in every school. Field issues had to be resolved before control systems could be repaired. Chilled water and condenser water pump motors had failed in a number of the schools. Costly backup systems were out of service or in dire need of repair. If these backup pumps had failed, the schools would have been without cooling. Cooling towers, neglected for years, were to the point of being condemned. Heavy shafts and fans weighing hundreds of pounds were supported by rotten beams. Bearings were hanging on with a single loose bolt. Every time one particular water tower sump was shut down, it drenched 280-volt electric pumps with hundreds of gallons of water. Some pump seals and valve packings had makeshift tin covers to stop water from spraying on high-voltage equipment. Bearing seals throughout the system had ruptured and were losing lubricant. In one school, there was no easy way to control the central plant. Complex components had failed or needed repair and calibration. Although hundreds of thousands of dollars had been invested in equipment, teachers and students remained uncomfortable simply because operators could not turn equipment on and off. Problems with controlling the environment were very common throughout these 10 schools. Systems ran wild, and in many areas, the temperature ranged from very hot to very cold. Rust and neglect were taking their toll. Millions were spent on entirely new systems instead of simply replacing failed components, implementing proactive repairs, and professionally managing preventative maintenance. That was the challenge. Clearly, a different approach was needed to overcome the problems. A different attitude was needed towards the physical plants. Instead of seeing them as fragile, undependable systems, it would be necessary to begin to see them as the workhorses they are, when given the proper attention. The main components of the units are truly designed to last forever, and with proper preventative maintenance, they will outlive the buildings. A new strategy was investigated: stop the aging process, refurbish the existing units, change the practice of system replacement, and begin a program of intensive, professionally managed preventative maintenance. The strategy was sound, but its implementation was beyond the capabilities of the school system. The Jefferson Parish School Board and the administration faced a problem seen by school systems across the nation: trying to stay on top by maintaining and managing complex machinery, utilizing a slow, deliberate, paperwork-laden procurement process that ultimately lacked accountability from the vendors.
The problem that we've had in the past was that we've never had anyone to take the responsibility for making something work, and then if it didn't work, we'd have to pay them over and over again for service calls.
In past years, it might be any company, it might be a number of companies. You never had one specific person to deal with.
This innovative school system needed to do more: improve operation, reduce ongoing expenses, diminish emergency capital expenses, and free the board and administration to handle other issues. After years of evaluation, and to attempt to make better use of capital resources, the board made a very innovative and decisive move: hand over the responsibility of the complex heating, ventilating, and air conditioning systems, including all central systems, to an outside partner, relieving themselves of engineering, construction, commissioning, repair, and maintenance responsibilities. One company offered its help: Star Service. Star Service had many successful programs in place in private schools, industrial plants, commercial buildings, healthcare, hotels, and a variety of other industries. For Jefferson Parish, Star would assume 100% accountability for the maintenance, repair, and, if necessary, the capital replacement of the environmental systems in the schools. The board also wanted Star Service to guarantee the long-term success of the program at a yearly fixed cost. There was one more stipulation: they had to do all this within the existing budget. Clearly, this was no ordinary partnership. By an overwhelming majority vote, the board placed 100% of the financial and performance accountability on Star Service.
This program, as I understand it, will allow us to have fixed costs that we can budget for over an extended period of time. We absolutely know what our air conditioning costs will be for these facilities for a set period of time. I literally think that this is one of the best maintenance contracts, if you would, that this school system has ever entered into in the 13 years that I've sat here.
Simply put, Star Service would provide a comfortable environment throughout all 10 schools for a fixed monthly fee. The plan's brilliance is in its simplicity. Star Service is 100% accountable.
They will handle 100% of all of our air conditioning and heating needs.
The program got off to a successful start. Star Service began by performing a detailed survey of all the school equipment, cataloging the equipment by location, model, and serial number, and documenting the general condition. They interviewed principals, teachers, and plant engineers to determine operational needs.
They asked me about my room. They actually did. They wanted to know, was I having any particular problems? Was my room too cold? Was my room too hot?
Star's team of engineers, technicians, and project managers developed a plan to bring every environmental system back to like-new condition. Then each piece of equipment was individually slated for an intensive program of quarterly preventative maintenance. Each principal was briefed on Star Service's responsibilities and the reason for the new partnership. A custom project schedule was developed to resolve all of the school's heating and air conditioning problems. The project schedule was finalized with the help of the principal and plant managers, taking into consideration classroom schedules.
Star was very helpful in working along with me in coming up with a solution that was not as disruptive for the students and the teacher.
Now, we haven't had to leave the room for any reason. When the maintenance is being done, they usually do it at our off period or at lunchtime, so the students are not involved. They seem to be working with the school schedule. I can honestly say the inconvenience has been minimal.
Since Star has taken over servicing our air conditioning system and heating system, there has not been a time that I can remember that the students had to be moved from class because of failure in the system.
The initial focus of attention was on each school's central plant equipment. If one chiller went down, sections of that school would have to be isolated, their routine disrupted as the students moved about the school to air-conditioned areas. If the entire plant went down, it might be necessary to close the school. There were a number of issues that required immediate attention. Cooling towers had to be refurbished and recommissioned. Years of sludge and mold growth were removed, and a chemical treatment was added to condition the water. Pumps had to be rebuilt and valves repaired to allow a backup source of chilled water for the building. Chiller tube barrels needed to be opened and cleaned. Controls, safeties, and interlocks had to be checked, repaired, and calibrated for proper operation. Sophisticated oil analysis was performed to bring attention to any potential internal problem. Eddy current tests that helped determine the integrity of tube bundles were performed. All machines were repaired and adjusted to operate at proper temperature, pressure, and fluid levels. Strainers were backwashed, and distribution systems were flushed out and chemically treated. In some cases, entire systems had to be replaced. With temporary backup chillers in place, an old chiller was demolished and removed. Building modifications were made, and a new 300-ton chiller was installed, commissioned, and brought online. Other major equipment replacements include a 100-ton compressor at John Adams that's been replaced and commissioned. Once all the central plants were at 100% operational capacity, STAR's team of technicians started analyzing the school's distribution systems, identifying and resolving issues that affect teacher-student comfort on a room-by-room basis.
When I walk down the hall with a STAR person, teachers will come out and catch them and say, "You got a minute? Listen to my problem," and they'll go in and listen to their problem.
My room has been much better this year than it's been in the past 4 or 5 years. So I was quite impressed.
I really think that STAR service has the students' best interests at hand.
Air handling units in hard-to-reach areas were taken down, cleaned, and reassembled. Coils were cleaned, airflows were tested, and discharge air controls set. Field devices, pressure, temperature, and current sensors were repaired or replaced and calibrated. Electric and pneumatic actuators, relays, and pressure switches are being located and repaired on an ongoing basis.
One thing I found that was very professional about the STAR people is when they first came in, we did a survey of each of the rooms to find out the exact temperature and if the teachers were comfortable or not comfortable. And then halfway through their work, we did another survey to find out if the conditions were improved.
They're going around right now working with the people here to change all of our filters. And you can pretty much feel in this room right now that this room is pretty cool compared to outside. So I'm real happy with the way things are going.
Pneumatic control systems, out of service for years, are being completely refurbished. Air compressors are being brought back online. Refrigeration units, pressure regulators, and oil-water separators are being repaired or replaced. The pneumatic distribution lines are being cleaned out, and air leaks located and repaired. With a clean supply of air, pneumatic controls, thermostats, and devices can be replaced or repaired, calibrated, and brought back online. Systematically, entire plants in every school are being refurbished and brought back to like-new condition.
In fact, I've heard a lot of people compliment STAR Services on the great job that we're doing.
From chillers in the central plant to thermostats in the classroom, all system components will be evaluated, diagnosed, and repaired. Within the first 6 months of the program, STAR Service expended over 6,000 man-hours rehabilitating the environmental systems. During the first 2 months of the contract alone, the school board canceled more than $400,000 in construction-related work that no longer needed to be performed. The hard work really paid off when the aging cycle was ended and control was gained over the systems. Now the most important step in the program can be implemented: intensive quarterly preventative maintenance and the proactive repair of questionable components. STAR Service took control of the systems and reacts to and attacks potential problems before they affect the users.
So STAR has been very cooperative in making sure that they're pleasing the client, and I must say they've been doing that.
They're interested in the teachers. They're approachable. They're willing to talk to anyone who wants to talk to them.
STAR has been very accommodating and understanding that this is a school in which students are learning, and far as distractions, they knew that first and foremost, that the students came first.
All the work that STAR has performed for our school has been around our schedule. If they had to interrupt things, they came after school. They have never interrupted any classes that I know of.
If problems do arise, they are STAR's problems, and STAR Service will apply the resources to resolve them quickly.
They return my calls immediately.
They're punctual when I call them. They're just a good company to do business with.
I made one call, and STAR was here outside my room checking the main line and found that, yes, there was a clog, and it was cleaned up, and the room's been perfect ever since.
STAR has never disappointed me. Every time I've called, they've always answered my calls.
Every time that I may have had a problem and called STAR concerning this problem, they've been very accommodating.
This dynamic approach not only ends the aging process, but brings costs under control, dramatically improving reliability and comfort. This level of service and quality is guaranteed as long as STAR Service maintains the systems. No surprises, excellent service, comfortable environments, a single fixed monthly cost. The in-house workforce freed to perform other critical work for the school, more comfortable conditions, the ability to put the focus back on important educational-related issues. To STAR's way of thinking, there is no greater measure of success than providing peace of mind for the children and teachers at Jefferson Parish schools, knowing they help provide a great learning and teaching environment, guaranteeing it for the future.
Having workmen that you can depend on and rely on and that just come in, do their job, and that's it, you know, that means a lot.
If you're interested in a company coming in and looking at your system, you need to give STAR a chance, because they're not just any old company coming in saying that. And understand that if they tell you they're going to do it, 99.9% they're going to do it.
With federal and local governments as well as local school boards fighting a losing war on school maintenance, but still convinced that the only solution is more taxpayer money, Jefferson Parish has led the way and developed a partnership solution that provides rehabilitation, repair, and maintenance of these complex systems within existing budgets. More important is the long-term environmental security this partnership offers.
I guess the real question is this. If this was a nursing home, if this was, say, my personal home, would I consider STAR to be top on the list? And that answer is yes, and highly recommended.
Thanks to the foresight and dedication of the Jefferson Parish School Board and Administration, STAR Service will be taking care of these schools and accepting responsibility and 100% accountability for the comfort of the teachers and students.
And you really want to find companies like STAR that's going to provide the service you need in helping the individuals that you're teaching. I've experienced them standing by their service.
What we had before wasn't working. It was broke and we needed it fixed, and it's fixed now.
The big picture is that if I don't hear any complaints, I know things are going well.
Everyone's been relieved that now, things are better. It was our #1 concern.
They didn't just give us the song and dance. They meant what they said. And as long as they continue to do that, then they'll be around a long time.
STAR has made a major difference to our school, and that our problems are in the past.